today it is pouring out, and it wasn't supposed to be pouring out. But now I don't even know if you can hear me because it's so damn loud. I wanted to do a video talking about my CARVANA experience, and I'm actually in the car right now, the Challenger, because I needed to go get the state inspection done. Here in Pennsylvania, we still do state inspection. I realize that not everyone does that now across the U.S. Depends on where you live. But it is very much a part of the law. So, that's what I'm doing right now. So, pardon me if I'm not staring at the camera. I can't believe how loud it is. It's ridiculous. Hopefully the rain lets up a little bit. I'm just going to keep on talking. If it's that bad, maybe I'll just scrap the video. But when I bought this car from CARVANA, I wanted to talk about my experiences with CARVANA. And overall, they've been great. I'm really, really happy with it. But I wanted to do the video really quick. This is ridiculous. I'll have to get back to you if the rain subsides. All right, guys, I'm back for a minute here. The rain slowed down a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But I'm just gonna sit in the slow lane here, pay attention to what I'm doing, and explain what happened in this video. Right now I am going to get an inspection for the vehicle, and that allotted me some time. I have about a half an hour trip or so. So that gave me a little bit of time to be able to sit and talk with you guys, because since I bought the car, I haven't had the opportunity to just really sit down and have this conversation. So the whole point of this is to tell you guys my experience with CARVANA. Buying from CARVANA, buying a car on the internet, on your cell phone, without seeing it. That's pretty intimidating, mostly because it's such an expensive purchase. I mean, most people have no problem buying something for 20 bucks on Amazon, maybe 100 bucks, maybe $500, but to buy, in this case, you know, a $37,000 car, which is not what I paid, but $37,000 to $38,000 vehicle without seeing it first, that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people, and they would take it off the table right away. And even though I consider myself a pretty conventional person and not really a risk taker, I heard such good things about CARVANA, I kind of wanted to just take a look, right? So that's what I did. I kind of looked online, looked at the prices, and at the time when I wanted to buy this vehicle, I was actually not looking for this one specifically. I was looking for different all-wheel drive vehicles and different four-wheel drive vehicles. CARVANA kept bugging me in the back of my mind. I was just thinking, like, you know, what do they have on CARVANA? Let me just go check. And when I was looking at the actual prices, they had good deals. In fact, when I finally decided on this vehicle, they had the cheapest deal for this particular car and this package anywhere online. You know, so it was really, really tempting to go that route with CARVANA. And at some point I talked to my wife and I said, you know, do you want to do this? And she said, why not? You know, so we did, and luckily it worked out. And from what I understand, most people who buy from CARVANA end up very happy with their purchase. And then of course now they buy cars. So if you're looking to sell a used car that's somewhat newer, I've heard great experiences as well. People get top dollar selling to them. But every individual case is different. Just because I had an awesome time doesn't necessarily mean you will. But I did have a fantastic experience. So let me kind of start from the beginning. In looking for a vehicle in general, again, I was just focused on all-wheel drive and I was focused on four-wheel drive capability. I live in northeastern Pennsylvania, if you don't know, and we have snow, we have winters. And having that accessibility to be able to get around in an emergency is, you know, a big priority. It was such a priority that, you know, I decided to really just focus in on at least all-wheel drive as a base option, but really preferably four-wheel drive capability. Well, as I was looking at different vehicles and stuff, I mean, there's a lot of SUVs, obviously all-wheel drive. There's not as many cars. Clearly, there's a bunch of, you know, Subarus and stuff, but you're really limited when you're looking for something all-wheel drive, right? So right off the bat, a lot of the common cars that I happen to like weren't even an option because they weren't offered all-wheel drive. At some point, I narrowed my search to just, you know, AWD and four-wheel drive, and one of these popped up. It wasn't this exact car. It was actually a Challenger SXT, which is the base model, but it was offered in all-wheel drive, and I was shocked because I didn't know these cars even came in all-wheel drive. I know that they're, you know, generally a sports car, and they're rear-wheel drive. Well, apparently not so much. The SXT, which is the base model, and this, which is a GT, were offered in all-wheel drive. I want to say from 2019 on. I don't think they're older, but it's possible in 2018, at least the SXT was available. But it was generally a new concept. And once I learned that, you know, I thought the car was beautiful. I thought, wow, I can actually get a car that I really like the looks of, because I'm not really into SUVs. There's a couple that look better than others, but generally speaking, they just don't, I don't know, they don't do it for me. So I really didn't want an SUV. So again, the second I realized that this would actually be an option, I thought that's pretty damn cool. So then I really focused on the SXTs and the GTs. Now the big difference between the SXT, which is again the base model, and the GT is some different options. Like for example, this has a cold weather package that's not available in the SXT. So, you know, remote start, heated steering wheel, heated seats, things like that, right? But generally speaking, both models are offered in both the V6, which this is, as well as I think the 5.7 V8. So if you want the Hemi in the cheaper model, you can certainly do so, but the V8s are not offered in all-wheel drive. So unfortunately, they were right off the table. Right from the get-go, I couldn't even consider one of the V8 models. Because I mean, if money wasn't a factor and all-wheel drive wasn't a consideration, I probably would have got a shaker model or something. You know, I couldn't really afford, you know, Hellcat or anything like that. But well, I guess if money was an option or a consideration, then obviously I would get a Hellcat or a Demon or something. But anyway, that's besides the point, because at that point, it's a fun car. This is not a fun car for me. This is actually just a daily driver. It's not a show car. This is a car that I have to use every day when I want to get somewhere. However, in the wintertime, if the weather's bad, or in this case, torrential rain, having the all-wheel drive just makes it a little bit more controllable. That's really what it comes down to. I did some videos driving this car in the snow, like serious snowstorms, and it was amazing. I was shocked how good it was, and that's on the stock rubber that came with the car. So anyway, getting back to Carvana, because most people don't give a crap about my specific situation with the car. They had the best price at the time, and once I was looking at them, these particular vehicles were selling for about $25,000 in and around 2 to 3 years old, with roughly 40 to 60,000 miles. So I couldn't afford really, like, you know, this car brand new at 37 or 38,000. However, used, it was in my budget. It was less than 30. I paid $28,900 for this. So $28,900 for this specific car, which only had 4,100 miles on it, which is practically brand new. So I bought it used, but I saved a lot of money, thousands of dollars, by buying it with 4,100 miles. So as far as the price goes, extremely happy. Now, as far as like Carvana and their website, how it's set up, it's really straightforward. It's really easy to see all the information you want to know. It obviously gives all the details on the trim levels of all the cars and things like that. They do give you the VIN. They do give you a free Carfax, which is included, which is really nice. The only thing I didn't like about Carvana was the financing options. So what I mean by that is when you go to finance through them, which originally was my plan, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of random to me, because I have good credit. I worked on my credit for years, about 6 years now I've been working on my credit, and I'm proud to say it's very good. My FICO is an 804, my Equifax I think was an 827, and my TransUnion is like an 829 or something like that. But that's years and years of really studying how the whole system works and really fine-tuning it. I can make a whole separate video on that, which I thought about doing before, but I mean, I don't know. It seems boring, but obviously credit is something that's super important to people. It's something you need if you need to borrow money. Hang on a second, just merging here. Ooh, beautiful WRX. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, having good credit obviously helps you when you need to borrow money. And in this case, I couldn't afford to shell out $29,000, you know, so I had to borrow money. So going through the Carvana process, once I picked the car, okay, I know the car I want, the price is great, I'm gonna bite, I'm gonna get this. Then it came down to financing. So Carvana doesn't do a full, or what they consider like a hard inquiry, which is obviously when you get your credit score checked, it's a hit on your credit, right? Which is negative, because people are looking at it, it's a possibility to drop your score, and almost always does. But a soft inquiry is a way for them to get an idea of your credit without having a credit hit. By doing that, though, they have limited information, and they offered me, with a soft credit hit, whatever that means, a 5% interest rate. Now, 5% is not bad at all. That's actually great for a lot of people. But being that I worked on my credit so hard, for this very moment where I needed to borrow money, it wasn't good enough. So I wanted something better. I knew I could do better. So I ended up not financing through Carvana, and instead I financed privately through a bank. Now at this point, I know what car I want. I know what the cost is going to be. I know what the, you know, fees and tax and all that stuff is going to be. So I have a round number. All right, so in my case, it was $31,000, a little over. I think it was $31,200 or something. So I needed a loan for $31,000, right? So because I had that information already and I knew what I wanted, and you could do this, by the way, at any dealership. You don't have to go through Carvana. So a little tip: if you want to buy a new car, and you don't want to go sit in that little room and have them, you know, hit your credit 20 times trying to find a bank to give you money, especially if you have bad credit, you might want to go the route of getting a private loan approved, pre-approved, so you can walk into a dealership knowing that you're already guaranteed the money. Then it's just a matter of what car and how much. So that can be done anywhere. That's just a life tip. But anyway, so I ended up going with a private bank, and I got an offer of 3.04%, which I stuck with. I said, you know, that's fantastic. Obviously, I'm going to save some money by not doing the 5% that I originally was planning on, right? So I locked in at 3.04%. I got my approval for my loan. I brought the information from the bank to Carvana. It's all very straightforward. I'm not going to bore you with the details and stuff, but they tell you exactly what to do step by step. And that was it. And then I was just waiting. Then the day came where they delivered the car. And it came just like you saw, you know, in the commercials, on the little flatbed that says Carvana. It's an open flatbed, which I have a problem with. And in this case, it arrived with damage on it. And the damage was not shown on the Carvana report. Long story short, there was a little ding in the side panel, a couple little scratches here and there. It really wasn't the end of the world, but it was principle, you know. So I contacted Carvana. I said, look, this damage wasn't here. And they say, totally fine. It probably occurred in transportation, because they have to move these cars back and forth all the time. Let these people go. They're jaywalking, but it's a very old guy with a hand truck who's moving really slow. Yep. That's funny. Anyway, so there's a crosswalk like 20 feet up. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought completely. Yes, the damage. So it's principle. It's like, come on, you know, I'm paying a lot of money for this car. This is not a $4,000 car. It didn't say there was a ding and scratches. So the scratches it showed, like I said, didn't actually exist. And they're like, fine print basically says that if you have damage that's shown on the report before you buy the car, it's possible that in the detailing process they'll buff that stuff out and it won't be there. So as it turns out, the car didn't have any damage until it was shipped. Now I don't know if the damage occurred from a rock hitting it, because it's literally being, you know, transported on an open flatbed. That's very possible. But regardless of whatever it was, they took care of me. They sent me to their insurance company. Their insurance company found me a local body shop, and they did all the work and they paid for it. You know, it was like $3,000 or $4,000, something ridiculous for the body shop, but they were very professional. They did everything like really, really well, and you would never, ever in a million years, you know, think that there was any kind of damage at all. So overall, I'm happy with it. In hindsight, if I knew they were going to be like taking parts off the car and doing all this different stuff, then I would have just probably dealt with the little tiny ding. It's not that big of a deal, but I didn't know how much of a process it would be to actually fix it like that. So long story short, I was very happy with the car. The only thing that was negative, like I said, was the damage, but that was corrected by Carvana and didn't cost me a penny, except for the rental car. But that's for a whole different topic, because that's more on me, because I didn't have to ask enough questions, and I didn't realize that the body shop is going to take as long as they would on the work that they needed to do. So that has nothing to do with those companies. That's just my not looking into it enough, I guess. So Carvana, for me, it's a thumbs up. I really, really was very pleasantly surprised with the overall experience. It's not for the timid. Like I said, some people want to go out there and kick the tire and open the hood and look at the car themselves, and if that's you, Carvana's not for you. But if you're a new wave person and all about the technology, it's nice to get on your cell phone, not have to deal with the dealership sitting there 6 hours, pick exactly what you want and call it a day. And that's what I did. So like I said, overall, I'm very, very happy with the experience. And generally speaking, the majority of people who have dealt with Carvana have had a great experience. You hear these nightmare stories here and there. I can't verify any of those stories, you know what I'm saying? But I guess it happens with any business. You can have stuff that goes sour. But there you go. That's my experience I want to share with you guys. And and that's pretty much it. So of course it stopped raining now. If I only waited like 15 minutes to start my video, probably would have been able to hear the beginning. Hopefully the camera angle's okay and you get the gist of what's going on here. So CARVANA, A-okay in my book. I would definitely recommend it, but I would recommend researching. Just like anything else, you want to get the best price possible and the best deal possible. But I wouldn't recommend financing through them because they didn't take in my actual credit as a consideration. In my case, it would have helped me. In your case, if you have bad credit, maybe it would help you by them giving you a blind number of something like 5%. I don't really know. But yeah, that's it. So hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Now that the sun is trying to poke out, I can actually drive and enjoy this car. I don't have to go, 55 on the highway. But that's all. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video.